Okay, welcome to our MAT161, week 16, Calculus 1 with Analytic Geometry. This is a lecture on LD Woosley Bethany College. We welcome everyone on our YouTube channel, CBC Ministries online page, as well as our profile on Facebook and LinkedIn, and our Twitter account, BM Seminary. Welcome everyone. Thank the Lord. Let's just wait for my student. Okay, so let's welcome everyone for our week 16. Ayan, so hintay-hintay lang tayo ng ating student. Okay? Kapi-kapi lang muna habang naghihintay. Ayan. So we'll be discussing today some maxima minima problems and then the remaining topics and the introduction to integral calculus, or what we call antiderivative. So that would be our, so we'll have some application, perhaps applied maxima minima. Sige, let's wait for my student to come in. Nevertheless, yan, wala pa tayong audience. Okay. Yan, alam na naman ang link. Yung estudyante ko alam na yung link. Okay, let's just wait for a few minutes. Then we will be discussing. Perhaps we have some agenda here. This will be our last topics. Yes, maxima minima. We have some problems here. The related rates, pero mas magpo-focus siguro sa maxima minima. Alright. We'll be looking at some of the problems here. Then eventually, yan. Welcome to our viewer here on Facebook. Welcome. Yan po. Parang lumaki ako. Okay, bigla siya nawala dahil calculus yung subject. Ganun talaga mga kapatid, may mga mailap talaga sa numbers, pero sa totoo lang, very practical lang numbers mga kapatid. Without numbers, I cannot imagine a word without numbers mga kapatid. In fact, that's the foundation of computers and computing. How will you compute without any numerical values? Acknowledging Joshua. Salamat Joshua sa iyong pagpunta sa ating YouTube channel, isa nating kasamahan. Yan, isa po nating kasamahan. Salamat sa pagtamsak mo, kapatid. Suporta. Salamat, Joshua. Thank you for dropping by on our Calculus 1 class. So, salamat. Really appreciate that. Okay, thank you sa pag panonood mo ng harang. Really appreciate them, Brad. Ilan na lang ba watch hours mo, Joshua? Ilan na watch hours mo? So, kasi, minsan busy si Ma'am Shi, hindi nagbibigay ng watch hour winner sa akin. Saka si Ashley. Ilan na bang ilan pang kailangan mo, Joshua, for your watch hours? Yan, mas mahirap kasi yung Acknowledging virus talent. Okay, thank you. Thank you sa pagtambay mo. Welcome to our Calculus 1 with Analytic Geometry. I'm just waiting for my student to come in. Salamat, virus talent, no? Ayan. Ayan, salamat sa pagpunta mo. Okay? Ayan, so nakakatakot, Brad. May talento ka sa virus, no, Brad? So, ayan. Thank you for dropping by. 1K pa lang. Medyo malayo-layo pa. Sige, pag nanalo ka sa ruleta ni Ma'am Shi, akong bahala sa'yo, ha? Kasi hinihintay ko lang yung mga padala ni Ma'am Shi ng mga WH winners. Sila ni Ma'am Ashley. Okay? Pag nagpadala at ikaw, sigurado yan, dodoblehin ko yung watch hours mo. Sigurado yung Joshua. Pag ikaw yung nanalo doon at ako ang sponsor, dodoblehin ko yung watch hours mo. Ayan. Kasi Mang Jun pala. Mang Jun, welcome. Kakaiba kasi yung channel mo, yung Ninja channel mo, sir. Kasi si Joshua ay yan talaga, loyal ni Sir yan loyal ni Ashley Ragos, si Ragos team, si Joshua. Kaya kapag ikaw nanalo sa Loretan, yung palaro ni Madam, ni Mamsi o ni Ashley, yan, dodoblehin natin yung watch hours mo. Okay, I'm still waiting for my student. Nevertheless, I'll be setting now the agenda for today. So welcome to our Calculus 1 with Analytic Geometry. This is our week 16. So ibig sabihin, yan. Noted, Joshua, walang problema. Tulungan lang tayo, mga small YouTuber. No? Kung artista lang tayo, pwede kitang bigyan ng milyon-milyong audience din. Kaya lang problema, hindi lahat ng gwapo nag-aartista Tama ba, Joshua? Yung iba, live streamer din. Yan. Live streamer din yung iba Ako, yung octave ko. Naglaro na yung octave ko. Anyway, so kasi to. Naghahanap siya ng So our agenda for today, even my students not here. So anyway, it's already 10 minutes. 10:30 is our time. I don't know what's happening to my student who is not coming in. Ayan, baka may network issue or perhaps some other important things. But nevertheless, we will be setting our agenda today. First and foremost is the continuation of our maxima minima. So we will have some applied maxima minima here. Maxima minima and applied maxima and minima. So that's the application of differential calculus. And then we will look at some samples of higher order differentiation. So we have also high order differentiation. So higher order differentiation or higher order derivatives. And implicit differentiation. So there are cases that we need to use some implicit differentiation. Differentiation. Ayan. And then, of course, another ano ba bang mga topic yung pwede natin yan? For 1.5 hours, no? Di-discuss ko to. Siguro yung intro na, sige. Intro to antiderivative or integration. Antiderivative or integral. Kasi ito continuation na to ng towards calculus 2 na to Yan, calculus 2 na yan. Calculus 2 na. Nasa calculus 1 pa lang tayo. Alright? So, I don't know what's happening. O nga Brad, nakakatakot yung ninja mo Parang may talento ka sa virus, no? So, yeah. So anyway, thank you, Sir. Thank you, Sir Mang Jun TV. Thank you for dropping by. No? So I'm waiting for my student. 1 top chat, 2 top chat, +1 on our Facebook. Ayan. So magparamdam lang dyan. Habang hinihintay natin ang estudyante, ngunit di na ako makapaghintay kasi hanggang alas 12 lang tayo. Ayan. So baka may network issue lang ang estudyante. Though automatic naman sana iyon na dapat ay nandito na siya. Alright. So anyway, magsasalita lang ako muna dito. Chat-chat na lang tayo ng chat-chat muna habang hinihintay ang ating estudyante na pumasok sa ating live stream. No? So he has the link. So I know he could always catch up. Okay? So yan, makikita natin. So applied. So there are applications of maxima minima. let's look at some of these sample problems that we could have for maxima, minima. Okay, maximum, because the issue here is some, of course, critical. No, we need first to solve the critical number, the critical values. So the critical values would involve, as we have discussed, the maximum value, meaning at this point there is the maximized value quantity. Now where the slope is equal to 0, that's why in this problem we are equating the first derivative to 0, such as we would reflect the maximum or minimum value. And that's part of the critical point or critical number. So if the critical point or critical number is not the maximum and it's not the minimum, what we call it's in mathematics and calculus we call it points of inflection. So there are critical points at y prime or f of prime of 0, f of prime of x we set equal to 0. So we will solve for the critical values. Critical values, numbers, sometimes some books call it points. So and there are three critical points here. First is the maximum value or the maximum point. So yan yung pinakamataas sa curve, no, na natalakay na natin yun, nag-drawing pa ako dito. Okay? Okay, nag-drawing uli ako. Okay, so pag drawing natin yan, asan na ba yung drawing pad ko dito? Ayan, so delay lang yung ating ano. Alright. So I wonder what happened to my student. Are there any internet issues? So assuming if you have a graph here, and there is a function, perhaps a function here. For instance, there is a function, something like that. Obviously, the one on top is what we call the maximum point or the maxima of a particular function, where in the slope, your y of prime or your f of x would be equal to 0. And in like manner, same slope would be intended to the lowest value. So this is your lowest value. We call it the minimum, the minima, wherein also your y prime or your f of x equal to 0. But there are points that is in between, that is neither the maximum or minimum. We call it the critical point. We call it the critical point. Ayan. So we call it the critical point. So maximum point, ito, may mga points sa graph. So this is not just a function. It may represent physical quantities. It may represent economic figures, no, such as interest and other applications of calculus. Yes, in business, pwede natin yung maximum profit or perhaps the maximum gain. So ganyan ang application. In geometry also, the largest circle that will be inscribed in a circle, a given radius, no? So yan yung mga pinaliwanag natin last time. So that could be the maximum point. And a reverse of this is your minimum point, of course. Ito naman, to minimize minimum point. And if the third one is the point of inflection, wherein there is not maximum, it's neither rising nor increasing. Because obviously on this graph, to reach for the maximum point, you need to increase at a particular portion before that point and decrease afterwards. That is the decreasing motion wherein you approach the maximum point. However, it's reverse on the minimum point, whereas you need to decrease first and increase on a certain portion that is your maximum. And for this graph, we call it the absolute maximum and minimum, because there are what we call relative maximum and minimum. There are also points on the graph that has a slope of 0, but that is not the absolute maximum or minimum. For this case, so there are points in the graph, as you may look, there are points in the graph that seemingly their corresponding slope is equal also to 0, but nevertheless, they're what we call relative maximum and relative minimum. But we're more focusing on the absolute values that we have here. Okay? So, okay ba? Ayan, yung makikita natin dyan. No? So anyway, what happened to my student? So my student is not yet here. Ano kaya nangyari kay Mikael? Oh, welcome, Micaela. How are you? Welcome. How are you, Micaela? Oh, wala kang audio? Wala kang audio? Ayan, my student is here already. So there are what we call absolute maximum. Ito yung absolute maximum natin, absolute minimum. Pero may mga... Oh, okay na yung audio mo, Micaela?
Ano po?
Ayan, sige. So yan, and then of course, if the point is as a matter of review, if the point is not the maximum or minimum, whether absolute or relative, we call it point of inflection. Point of inflection. Palit lang natin yun. Point of inflection. Okay, by the way, within this week, I'll be uploading the materials. Then week 17, Micaela, will you have a general review of everything? And then week 18 is your final exam.
Yes po.
Okay, so a challenge. Did I give the challenge already for the final exam? Did I mention to you?
Hindi ko yata kailan nakalimutan ko.
Oh, may kasabay mo uling ate mo?
Opo, yes po.
Oh, the challenge is that if you will perfect my final exam, no more computation, you will earn flat 1 on my calculus 1 class. That's it. Okay? Ba't pa ako magko-compute kung perfect yung final exam? Yan, kape muna tayo. Okay ba yun? O ano?
Sige, sir.
Okay, di ba? Pag di ka naman maka-perfect, kukumputin ko lahat. Pero pag maka-perfect ka, wala nang computan, flat 1 na. O, di ba? O, masayang. Tapos, ang partida pa, bibigyan kita ng 1 linggo. 1 linggong pagre-review sa lahat ng potential na tanong ko sa multiple choice. O, di ba? Bibigyan kita ng database ng mga tanong from limits or pre-calculus analytic geometry down to pre-integral calculus concepts. No? All of this will be given to you by next week. So, crucial ang week 17 sa ating kailan ba, ano bang petsa ng week 17? Baka may ano yun na. So sa address wala namang 30 pala, naku po. Wala na namang kaming pasok ni Dil. Araw ni Bonifacio pala sa ano. But anyway, acknowledging Ma'am Shirosel Rago, salamat po sa Facebook. Salamat po sa pagpunta, Ma'am Shi. Ayan. Ma'am Shi, ngayon ba yung ano nyo, Ma'am Shi? Ngayon yung grand live, yung first anib. Tama ba ngayon? O kayo yung sa 30? Nalito ko dun sa ano eh. Ayan, good luck daw sa exam. Ayan, yung mga fans natin sa Facebook. Thank you, Madam ha. Ayan, so exams. So ganun lang bukas 6 PM. Sige ma'am, nandyan ako, walang problema. Ma'am, alam niyo na, then kahit papaano papakulay tayo diyan. Kay Ma'am Ashley pala yung 30. Okay, noted madam. Kahit papaano magpakulay tayo diyan sa inyong anniversary live stream, madam. Ayan. Though honestly, meron akong conference sa simultaneous. No? Naka-Zoom meeting ako habang tumitingin ako sa YouTube nyo, madam. By tomorrow. Ayan. So, okay na yan, Micaela. Pag naka-perfect ka, flat 1. Pag pag hindi ka maka-perfect, flat 5. Ganun ba? Pwede ba yun? Hindi, joke lang ha. Siyempre, hindi naman. So, anyway, I'll be giving all of the possible potential questions on my data bank para doon. Okay, noted Ma'am Shi Rosella. Thank you for dropping by on our Facebook live stream. Ayan. Si Joshua po, madam, nandito sa YouTube. Si Joshua, ang inyong anak-anakan. So, let's continue, no? So Micaela, yung graph na to nagpapakita sa atin ng absolute maximum. Ang absolute maximum dyan, yung dalawa. Ito, absolute maximum, this one. Sige, drawing pa tayo. So ito, yung absolute. This is the absolute maximum. Absolute maximum to. Okay? So may mga ganyang function, no? And then of course, this is your absolute minimum. Absolute yan, regardless of the points. And then it's neither maximum or there's a point. Ito yung point of inflection mo. Inflection point. Wherein the function is neither decreasing or rising. So may chance na ganyan point of inflection. And other slope that is equal to 0 are either relative maximum or relative minimum. So ito yon, mga relative to. Mga kamag-anak to, relative. Mga relative na yan, either relative, ito rin, no, yung point na yan. Basta may slope na 0, no, kala natin, alamin natin kung ito nga ay talagang absolute maximum o malalaman naman natin yan actually. Kapag sinubstitute mo or sinolve yung value of x when you equate the first derivative to 0, malalaman mo kung maximum o minimize yung value. So ito, another relative ito. Okay? So yan yung mga makikita natin dyan. Okay, let's move on to other. Itong octave natin nalilito ah. Dyan lang siya. Perhaps this is my agenda today, no? Micaela, if you have noticed, we continue applied maxima minima, and then you have samples of higher order derivatives and implicit differentiation. And now, here we go, an introduction to antiderivatives, or sometimes we call it integral calculus. No? So yan na yun. Hanggang dyan yung coverage natin from pre-calculus of analytic geometry up to intro to integration. That's the coverage of our final examination. Okay? So nevertheless, so bibigyan kita ng mahabang database. Kung 50 items lang yung kung 50 items, bibigyan kita ng 100 items ng pagre-review. Okay, ganun ang mangyayari dyan. So, I give you a lot of potential problems, no, that I will be looking into. So hopefully, yan, perfect na para wala nang masyadong computan, no? No, hindi rin hirap sa akin. So hindi ka hirap. Pag perfect ka, di flat 1, sa akin wala nang problema. Diba, Micaela? Win-win situation yun. Pag na-perfect mo, wala na akong kukumputin. O, diba? Yun lang yun eh. Actually, sa graduate school, ang professor, acknowledging Gian Michael Ang, Tihada, salamat sa iyo sa pagpunta, Gian Michael. Okay, on our Facebook. So, welcome to our Calculus 1 class. Okay. So, okay na ba yung Micaela? So, okay na yung deal na yun, ha? So, pag na-perfect mo, di masaya tayong lahat. Pero pag hindi mo na-perfect, siguro to certain range, tingnan natin kung kaya pang ihabol na 125 or 1.5. Pero pag hindi umabot ng 1.5 yung score mo, kukumputin ko talaga mula sa umpisa. Lahat ng mga submissions mo, anyway, it's all of them are in my email. I could always go back and recompute. no, from the start, from prelim, midterm, and then the finals. So, pag medyo bumaba ka ng 1.5, yan ang gagawin natin. Okay, kasi gusto ko talaga lahat ng estudyante ko flat 1 eh. Yan ang pangarap ko sa buhay. No, huwag nang ano, kasi yung ibang mga professor na observe mo, masyadong kuripot sa flat 1. I don't know if you experience that, Micaela. Masyadong kuripot sa flat 1. Hindi naman sila tataasan ng, hindi ba ibig sabihin, brother, pag flat 1, magaling naman talaga yung estudyante. Yun nga lang, hindi mo kasing galing, hindi kasing galing ng professor. Kaya wag mo itumbas yung utak mo doon sa estudyante. Kasi nung panahon na yung professor, estudyante pa lang, medyo bubububo din ng konti. Di ba? Kaya unfair yun. Kung minsan kasi may sobrang dunong ng professor, no, masyado niyang ilinilevel yung kanyang performance ngayon doon sa performance ng estudyante. Dapat bumalik siya doon sa time na siya rin estudyante. Okay? Ayan. So sana help me, Micaela, help me in easing up your computation para wala nang masyadong computation. Ayan. And I mean it. When I would like to, or if you perfect the score, then flat 1 is hanging on your doorstep. Okay, napaka. Kasi alam mo, sa master's and doctoral, hindi na usapan yung araw-araw na performance. No? The fact, magbibigay lang ang professor ng final requirement when the professor is satisfied to your project accomplishment, flat 1 will be given all right away. O sige, ito na class card mo. Ayan, uwi ka na. O, flat 1. Diba? Ganun lang yung kasimple. Ayan. So anyway, hindi ko alam kung hindi yan ang kultura sa sa Bethany, no? I'm not so sure about that. Do yung ibang mga professor yan taga UP, alam nilang kalakaran sa UP. Okay? Anyway, those are just my thoughts. Okay, sample problems muna tayo. So konti na lang ito, then we will go to the next topic, which is higher order derivatives. So madali na lang naman yung higher order derivatives. Okay, so let's see if we could have some sample problems here. Kasi mahaba. Actually, yung worded problem ko mahaba. Okay, bibigyan kita ng isang kukunti lang. Kasi there are many problems here on my end. Ito, madali ito, Micaela. I hope you could solve this. And I hope I could paste this right away. So, hindi naman masyadong mga komplikadong tanong ibibigay ko. So, kayang-kaya mo yan. Ikaw pa. Nakapasa ka nga ng Calculus 2 eh. Ngayon, Calculus 1 ka ngayon. Okay, here's the problem. Hopefully, it will be pasted. Ayan. Can you see the problem? Okay. It says here, teka, parang namali yung copy ko. The sum of the squares of two non-negative numbers is to be 4. How should they be chosen so that the product of their cubes is maximum? Okay, so can you see? Can you see the differentiable value? The differentiable value is, that's the first thing that you need to identify, because that's the one that you will get the derivative. Okay? What is the question? What is the value to be maximized? That's the first question. Michaela. Acknowledging, Sir Motodizer, Sir Mike, Sir, Calculus 1 ito, Sir. Okay lang yan, walang problema, Sir. Ano ka lang, bisita ka lang. Thank you, Sir, for dropping by. Sir Motodizer, isa nating kasamaan sa ating live stream. Salamat, Sir. Thank you, Sir, for dropping by. Really appreciate your presence here on our YouTube live stream. Pag ano, Sir, makadalaw din ako sa inyo. Medyo busy lang ako ngayon. Michaela, what is the value to be maximized based on the problem?
Yung product, sir.
The product. Okay, acknowledging. Co-faculty at Grace Christian College, Romel Imenso, Sir. Math teacher also. Thank you, Sir. Sir, pwedeng pakisagutan, Sir? Sir Romel, pakisagutan mo yung problem. Ayan. Diyan sa ating Facebook, alam, maning-manito ni Sir eh. May technique nga dyan eh. Okay, anyway. Okay, the product. The product is to be maximized. And what product is that? Michaela, what product?
The product of their cubes.
The product of their cubes. So assuming x and y are numbers, so x and y are the numbers, are the non-negative numbers, non-negative numbers, all right? So therefore, this the product to be maximized is x cubed, y cubed. O, teka, gawin na nga natin itong mathematical. Minsan nakakalimutan ko ito. So the product, P is the one to be maximized such that x cubed, y cubed. Ayan. Right, that is your... Now, the next thing to do here is for you to eliminate one variable so that you could have a differential, you could get the derivative with respect to one variable and equate it to 0. That's the procedure. So how could you do that? Kaya lang.
Dun po sa sum of two squares.
The sum of squares of 2, the sum of the square, or how will you express that into mathematical expression? The sum meaning 4, so that is x squared
plus y squared equals 4.
Equals 4. Okay, so that's the expression. From here, so or we could say that simplifying, perhaps we would like to solve for y. So we will just take the positive root because non-negative ang nakalagay dito. So y would be acknowledging. Oh, kumaring, ginitchewing ko. Welcome sa'yo. Welcome sa calculus class ko. Ayan. So relax lang tayo. Ayan. So what you could have here, what's the answer?
Square root of 4 minus x squared.
4 minus x squared. Okay? Uy, hindi sumunod yung ano. Teka. Hindi sumunod yung... Teka. Sumunod. Bakit kaya hindi sumunod? SQT, siguro lalagyan ko na ng parenthesis to para 4 minus y squared. Y squared. Yan, okay. Okay, all right. So afterwards, of course, we could eliminate that. Now we could eliminate that. Ngayon, sige. I will allow you to substitute. X squared pala to. Sorry. So from here, we could get the values for substitute. So substitute y to the first equation. Of course, this would be your first equation here. So from there, you could say that P, okay, should be equal to x cubed multiplied by the square root of 4 minus x squared. Okay? So can you solve for the P prime of x? So this would be your, say, your P of x. That's your function. So solve for, okay. Can you solve, Michaela, for P prime of x? Okay. And then equate it to 0 afterwards. Okay. Can you recall a formula? Perhaps? Okay. Yung derivative of UB. Okay. It's
UDB.
BDU plus UDB. Yeah. Okay. So kindly solve that. Kindly solve, and then we will continue here. Acknowledging one of my student, Dimas De Gracia III. Welcome, Dimas. Thank you for. Also, oh, my batchmate Dominic Dison is with us also. Welcome, brother. Salamat. Thank you for watching over. No? Yan, napapadaan ng ating mga kaibigan. Thank you for dropping by in our Calculus 1 class. Alright? Okay, kindly solve, Michaela. Okay, we'll ask the help of our Octave, no? Octave, because na ano rin ito eh. Naku, out of time. Ang bihira naman yun. Ulit. Sabi naman ito. Out of time siya. Oh. Bakit? What happened? An error code yun? Grabe naman to. Okay. Anyway. So, Gawin na lang natin na symbolic equation siya. X cube. Yan. Teka, wait. Kailangan symbolic to. Yan. Deep must be numeric or logical. Nako po. Ano nangyari? Minsan magkakaproblema din tong ano eh. Ayaw naman mag-symbolic. Ayan, pumasok yung symbolic natin. So, tatanggalin ko na to. Tanggalin ko na to. Ayan. Oops. Oh, nangyari. Anong nangyari? Walang nangyari. Okay. Sabi naman to. Ang hirap naman amuhin ito. 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat pala. Tama ba? Hindi, tama naman eh. X cube. Simplify muna natin to. Grabe. Offline si Octave. Paano kaya to? Hindi siya makapagbigay ng sagot eh. Oh, may sagot ka na ba, Micaela? Ito palang worst case scenario ng Octave kapag ano siya.
Sir, kailangan pa i-refresh.
Ito na nga eh. Oh, ayaw niya. Oh. Symbolic X. Python not support. XYZ. Yan. Ayaw niya talaga. Teka, i-reset ko si ano. Kasi kanina pa siya eh. Ayaw niyong gamitin ha. Sige, mag-offline ako. Yan. Okay. Yun. Oh, X cube. Naman na-compute niya na. Yun! Okay. Teka, gawin natin pretty yan. Pretty. Pretty answer. Yun yung ano. Masyadong ano. Teka. Papaliitin ko para makita natin. Yan ang sagot niya. Micaela, yan. 3. Okay. Ngayon, nagtamang problema dyan. Kasi i-equate natin kay 0 yan. Ha? So, ang mangyayari dyan, idadump mo na yung radical na nasa denominator papuntang 0. Ang ngayon, mag-iiwan siya ng squared doon sa pangalawa. Nagets mo? So, yung square to 4 minus x squared, we will dump that to 0 since your prime, px of prime is equal to 0. So, what remains? What remains there? Since this is equal to 0, we dumped that already. So based on the answer here, it's negative x raised to 4 plus, assuming na octave ay tama, 3x squared, and then i-square niya to. So minus, kasi in-square niya yung square root sa denominator nung nauna, no? Nagets mo ba, Micaela? Idadump mo yung radical na denominator papuntang 0. So, mawawala na siya. So what remains are just all numerators. Make sense? So negative x to the fourth plus, no, mawala ni denominator, plus 3x squared times 4 minus x squared. Yan, simplify natin. Or, so that would become equal to 0 now, would become equal to negative of x squared. So, ano natin, Micaela? So this will become 12 x squared, okay, minus 3 x to the fourth. Tama ba? So, or, so minus yung nasa unahan, so minus 4. And then i-divide ba natin ng 4? O mamaya na. 4x minus 4x to the fourth. So we combine them plus 12x squared. Okay? Then or, so what we could have here, so kung divide mo siya by 4, tanggal ang 4, magiging negative, or so negative x to the fourth plus kaliding Eileen, classmate Eileen, salamat sa iyo. Yan, watching from Canada, Eileen, no? You're now in Canada. Thank you, Eileen. Okay, or, so pagandahin pa natin to, factor out mo. So ano yung mga factors natin, Micaela? Factor out. Gusto kong tanggalin yung ano, so magiging x na lang to. X to the fourth minus 12, x squared. Halimbawa. So factor out mo. Factor out natin, x squared. Anong lalabas? Anong maiiwan? X squared. X squared minus 12. Tama? X squared minus 12. X squared. Wait. Parang, nung tinanggal ko yung ano, tinanggal ko pala yung 4. 3x squared na lang to, no? Tama? 3x squared na lang yon. So, x squared minus x squared minus 3. Tama? Kaya na lang. Ano nangyari? Okay ba?
Saan napunta yung 4?
Yung 4, dinivide ko. Dinivide ko eh. 4, yung 4, nawala na yung 4, kaya 3 na lang. Tapos binalik, reverse ko yung sign. Tapos, pinactor out natin yung x squared. So, ang probable na critical pala nito, ano? So, ang critical values niya, yeah. So, kung si zero natin, can we solve for, teka lang So, baka naman nagkamali ako dito. So, x to the fourth minus 3x squared times 4 minus x squared. Kasi nga, dinump na natin yung factor, no? So, answer equals solve. Kaya ba to? Hindi ko sure kung kaya. Hindi ko alam. Ayun, no? Meron siyang nasolve. Meron siyang nasolve. Ayan, tama. Kung sinolve ko yung x, matitira dyan, negative square root saka positive square root. So, x. Tama pala itong ginagawa natin. So, x cubed. Teka. Wait a minute. I think we have an error. May nakalimutan tayo, Micaela, dito. Cube mo dapat to. Tama? Kasi substitute mo lang naman yung y eh. Tama, Micaela?
Yes, sir.
Ayan. Teka. Correct natin, rectify natin. Kasi cube mo lang to. Tama lang. Ayan. Kasi sinubstitute mo lang naman doon sa equation 1, yung value ng x doon, so cube pa rin siya. So mali itong ginawa ko. Okay. So babaguhin natin yung definition dito ni ano. Eto, magre-raise pa rin siya ng 3 dito. Ayan. Magre-raise pa rin siya ng 3, saka natin i-equate na 0. Okay? So, yun yung kulang natin, yung cube doon, no? Yun, ang ganda. Okay, this is the value, no? The value. Kasi ang lalabas yan, parang 3 halves, no? Tama, Micaela, magiging 3 halves to. 4 minus x cubed, x squared, quantity 3 halves. Okay, nakokopya ba, Micaela?
Apo.
Yun lang naman yung ano natin eh. So sige, ilalagay ko dito yung derivative based dito sa computation ni x 3x to the 4th. Okay, let me see here. So minus 3x to the 4th, then square root of 4 minus x squared plus 3x squared. Kasi parang in-apply niya lang yung ano eh. Ay, pwede ko palang simplify ito. Anyway, sige. Never mind. 4 minus x squared raised to 3 halves. Yan yung pinakasagot niyan. Ngayon, i-equate natin to sa 0. Then solve natin yung kay x. Solve such that your answer is equal to 0. Then solve for x. Solve for x for this case. Alright, so that's our command. Here we go. We have a lot of answers. Dahil ito ay quartic equation, Micaela, if you notice, this is a quartic equation wherein there is a power of 4. So actually, more than that, no? Kasi meron kang roots na may kita dyan upon solving, upon equating to 0. So in process, no? So mamimili ngayon tayo. Ito ngayon ang pamimilian natin, itong 5 na to, 5 roots na to. Obviously, tanggalin na natin yung 0 kasi 0 times 0 is 0. I think that is not the maximum value. Alright? So sometimes we need to eliminate here. But anyway, consider pa rin natin siya as I will create here a table. Say there are table here, 5. So yan. So yung may kita natin yung value ng x, value ng y, saka yung product. Kasi ma-maximize natin yung product. Or perhaps, kung susolve na rin natin yung cube niya. Okay? Solve na rin natin yung cube. So from here, negative 2. So wag ko nang isama yung 0, no? Kasi minimum, very minimum yung value niya. And then square root of 2. And then you have negative square root of 2. Right? So these are the choices that we have. Okay? Now, so we could solve for y. Actually, we could solve for y based on these assumptions that y is equal to square root of 4. Pwede na natin siyang computein dito. Pwede na natin siyang computein, no? So, square root of 4 minus negative 2. So, ayaw niya nun, simplify. Tama naman, simplify, pretty. Ganon. Ayun na, naglolo ko na naman si ano. So anyway, this is square root of 2, no? Actually, square root of 2. Square root of 2 yan. Pwede na natin siyang ano, no? Diretsoy na natin yung product. Dito mo isalpak natin yung maximum product. No pala. Dito sa, you don't need to solve for y. Kasi meron naman tayong in terms of function product x cube. We'll just use this formula to sense which one is that would give us or yield us. Acknowledging Madonna, my student also, that would yield the maximum product for this case, no? So yan yung makikita natin diyan, no? So hindi ko lang alam bakit nangyayari dito sa ating ano. So if you have here, sige, ano na lang natin. Negative 2 cube times 4 minus negative 2. Acknowledging Joshua Alcalde is with us. Joshua, salamat. Welcome to my Calculus 1 class, Brother Joshua. Thank you. So you have here 4 minus squared, negative 2. 3 halves, raised to 3 halves. So ano dapat na maging sagot niya? Wala siyang sagot. Yan ang malupit dito, walang sagot. Offline na naman si Octave. Yan ang problema naman ito. So anyway, siguro naman masusolve mo to. Negative 8, pati ba naman yan, walang sagot. What is happening here? Ulit. So negative laki ang hole ito. Okay. So we have here by the definition, so cube times the quantity 4 minus negative 2 squared raised to 3 halves. 3 halves. Yun, 0. Alam yung product 0. 0, Micaela, for this. 0. Hindi ko alam bakit 0 eh. Gawa siguro nung radical. Radical na in-express. Negative 2 squared is 0. So product is 0 here. So isabukan lang natin siyang palitan ng positive 2. Positive 2. Of course, para magiging 0 din ang sagot dito. Tama ba, Micaela? Can you follow?
Yes po.
Oh, 0 din. So, okay, at least shed light for this, 0. And then square root of 2. Palitan natin ang square root of 2. Tingnan natin. So, square root of 2. Square root of 2. Right? Ito naman, square root of 2 din. Alright? Square root of 2, you have 8. Alright. So, meron na tayong, kahit pa paano, may sagot tayo, no? 8. And then, negative square root of 2 is another root of that derivative or p of prime of x, which is equal to 0. We have solved that through the MATLAB. So, dito naman, lalagyan natin, i-insertan natin ng negative square root. Negative siya doon, negative siya din doon. Tingnan natin kung ano magiging sagot. Negative 8 na rin. So, siya palang minimum, no? Minimum tong ano. So, what's the answer, Micaela? After so many solution, nevertheless, no? Yan naman ang kagandahan ng mathematics. So, this is the answer. At x equal to negative square root of 2. Yan. That would yield the maximum product of x cubed, y cubed, which is equal to 8. Okay, make sense? Acknowledging John Music TV, thank you for dropping by. Sir John, thank you for dropping by. Okay, Micaela, okay pa ba? Okay ka pa?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. Now, marami akong problem na ibibigay sa'yo within next week, no? So, ayan yung mga sample problem na pwede natin. No? Though I would like to jump to the next. Anyway, this is just a continuation. Higher derivative tayo. Konting-konti lang to. No? Higher derivative. Or sometimes we call it implicit differentiation. Ayan. So, gagamit na rin tayo ng MATLAB, ng Octave dito para mapabilis tayo. Right. Okay, so it says here, find the second derivative. Pag sinabing higher order derivatives, it could be second, third, fourth, etc. Derivative of y is equal to square root of x squared plus 1. Okay? Can you solve this directly, Micaela? First derivative muna tayo. Solve for y prime. Then I will try to solve using MATLAB or Octave. Can you solve for the first derivative muna?
2x. So, 2x. Ay, square root pala.
Square root, Square root of x squared minus 1. Yan, yun yung nagpahirap dyan. Actually, nagpahirap dyan yung nagpahirap dyan yung radical. Yan, medyo nagpahirap. Pero meron tayong gagamitin dyan na implicit differentiation na tinatawag. So, that's what we call indirect method. So, we'll try first the direct method. The direct method. You could solve for the direct method. So, by, the following the format. Still recall the format there. The derivative of square root of u What's the answer? 1 over, Micaela? 1 over 2 square root of u. Tama ba? Still follow the pattern? du. du over dx. Ay, teka. Daw na? Sige.
Hindi pwede kong bawasan.
Pareho.
Pwede. Ano naman, hindi naman mas okay doon.
5,000 yung BDO. Ay. Ang basta 5K. Pag less than 5K BDO, pag more than that, BPI. Punta ka ba SM? Sige. Tama ba, Micaela? That's our format. Still recall? You may use that to solve for this. Then I'll be showing you the implicit differentiation technique. Now, cookies. Sige. Fish. Uy. Ayan. Nagpaalam si Mrs. pala. Micaela, can you give me the answer? Using this rule, di ba? These are basic radical. Following that pattern.
1 over 2
Okay.
square root of x squared plus 1 times 2x. So,
parang sobra. Teka. Sige. Iano ko Ititignan natin dito. This. Itip natin yung square root. Square root of x squared plus 1. Let's see. Ako, ayaw na naman niya. Grabe naman ito si Lagi na offline si Okay, that's the answer. X over square root of x squared plus 1. Bakit nagkaganon? Kasi yung du over dx mo. Ano ba yung du over dx mo? 2x. Magka-cancel yung 2 doon sa 1/2. Ang maiiwan sa numerator, x. Gets mo, Micaela? Ito na yun Yung square root of u, kukopyahin mo na lang kung ano yung nandun sa u, which is x squared plus 1. And then, kung solvein mo yung du over dx, ano ba yung u? X squared plus 1. What is du over dx? 2x. So the 2 there will be cancelled by 2 here. So what remains is x in the numerator and all over square root of x squared plus 1. Make sense?
yes po. Yes, sir.
Okay, next. Since we're getting the second derivative, from there, you could solve for the second derivative. Kaya lang, medyo komplikado siya, sa totoo lang. No? Kasi pag binip ko pa dito yung answer, binip ko yung answer, yun yung second derivative. Diba? Ang ganda. Ayan, that's the second derivative, actually. Ngayon, there are ways where we could avoid that using implicit differentiation technique. Implicit, no? I'm hitting 2 birds with 1 stone here. Multiple integration, differentiation, or higher order differentiation at the same time, implicit differentiation. So based on this equation, okay, y is equal to square root of of x squared plus 1. Or perhaps, now you may express this in terms of non-radical form. How will you do that? By transposing the radical to the other side. Michaela. And then before getting the derivative, meaning we are avoiding radicals in our differentiation. Kasi a while ago, what we have is a direct differentiation. However, the dilemma is your second derivative will be harder for you. Tama ba? Pero doable pa naman to, Michaela. Yun nga lang, gagamit ka dito ng derivative of u over b. Tama? Derivative of u over b to. Kaya ito yung lumabas na sagot. Ito, dito sa octave. No? Pero tayo, gagamit tayo ng implicit differentiation where we will be avoiding the radical of a particular function. Alright? So what would be the non-radical equivalent for this expression, Michaela? Michaela, hello. The non-radical, of course, dumping the radical to the other side will result to what? To y squared plus is equal to? Michaela, are you there? Nahulog ka pala, Michaela? Nahulog ka? Kanina pa ako dakdak ng dakdak, wala ka pala.
So, sorry po.
Hindi ko kasi nakikita yung screen kasi alam mo naman overlapping yung screen ko. Eto, tanong ng tanong, nasaan na kaya yung batang iri? Acknowledging my friend, Engineer Ariel Awa from Canada. Welcome, Brad. Thank you for dropping by on our Calculus 1 class. Salamat, Brad. Talaga nga naman, nakaka-excite din tong platform kasi yung mga hindi natin nakikitang madalas, nakikita ko ng madalas ngayon sa live stream. Welcome, Brad, Brother Ariel Awa. Salamat sa iyo, Brad. Sana naman kapag pumunta ka ng Pinas, makapagkape man lang tayo. Ayan. So, here, what would be the non-radical expression, Michaela? Y squared is equal to x squared plus 1. Make sense? Then you pursue the differentiation of both sides of the equation. So you pursue without, ano nangyari dito? Hindi ikaw ang kinocommand ko. Okay. You pursue the derivative of both sides. So ito ang tinatawag na explicit differentiation. No, hindi mo kailangan na equate muna siya sa x o sa y bago maging y prime. No, it could be simultaneous. That's what we call implicit differentiation. And from here, we could solve, or this would be y. Kung magiging ano siya ngayon, kasi pag derivative mo yung dy over dx, that would mean y prime. So, derivative of y squared would be 2y, y prime. Yun yung kaibahan niya, Michaela, kapag nagdi-derivative ka ng hindi differentiable variable, ina-acknowledge mo siya as y prime. Kasi pag yan ay x squared lang, 2x lang siya. Katulad nitong kabila, 2x constant. Okay, make sense?
Sir, saan po nanggaling yung... Sir, di ba po yung y, ay yung first...
That to differentiate the differentiable variable x. Kasi ang differentiable variable mo x, y yung kukunan mo ng derivative, hindi pwede. Hindi pwedeng maglaho lang yung y. Kailangan may indication ka na yan ay y prime. To indicate that there is a y prime. Because what you're differentiating is the value of x. Not y. Kaya tingnan mo, pag kinuha mo yung derivative ng x squared, 2x lang. Pero pag yung plus 1, derivative of 1 is 0. Kapag kinuha mo ang derivative ng y squared, 2y, then you insert y prime. Make sense? Yun yung kaibahan niya. Unless na itong differentiable variable dy, pag dy naman, yung differentiable derivative of y squared, 2y lang. Ang derivative ng x squared magiging 2x x prime. Kapag ang differentiable variable mo ay y. Na-gets mo, Micaela? So dito, implicit yung approach natin. So, from there, so this si differentiable variable mo x, so therefore y prime yung ilalagay mo sa dulo ng non-x variable. Non-x variable. So from there, so masosolve natin agad-agad yung ating solving. So siya cancel mo na yung 2, magiging y prime is equal to x. All right? And or what can you say here? Y prime is the first derivative. This would be equal to x over y. Right? Oh. And what is y? Saka mo ngayon sa substitute yung nauna. Ito. Y is equal to square root of x squared. O, di ba ang bilis? Saka mo lang substitute yung radical pag tapos na. Hindi ka nadadaan dun sa radical differentiation or derivative ng radical. Dito, saka mo lang substitute yung y. Your y is equal to square root of x squared plus 1. Ayan, no? Pareho, di ba? Oh, may technique ka nang alam, Micaela. Kapag you're dealing with radical, you may use implicit differentiation. That's what we call implicit differentiation. Okay? Pero okay naman kung pwede mong sagupain na diretso to, no, by substituting this formula. Okay din naman yan, walang problema. Pero dito, swak na swak siya. Okay? Question?
Yes, sir.
Question? Ha? Okay ba? Magic ba? O hindi naman?
So, sir, sinisolve lang din po dyan yung first derivative lang.
Yes. Pero hindi pa. Tutuloy pa natin second derivative. Pinakita ko lang sa iyo yung kaibahan ng implicit solving directly using this formula or implicit. Ito yung implicit. Okay? So magkaibang method yan. Pero it will arrive at the same answer. Okay? So siyempre, mas madali yung implicit differentiation kasi you will not deal with radical eh. Ilalagay mo na lang siya sa dulo pag sinubstitute mo. In fact, hindi lang siya pang radical. Kahit ano yan. Kahit anong mga functions. Okay? Let's move on to second derivative. Hindi pa tapos. So second derivative tayo. No, pag sa second derivative, dahil alam na natin yung sagot dyan, okay, ganito na mangyayari dyan. Kapag ito ang sagot, ito na yung kukunin natin. Ayan. So we'll take from this. Okay, we'll take from that. We will get the derivative of this expression, this one. Ito, ayan. Kasi we will avoid this eh. Hindi natin gagamitin ito eh. Pati itong fraction. Hindi natin gagamitin yan. So ang gagamitin natin expression, ito. Itong y prime is equal to x. Alright? So yun yung ating gagamitin dyan. So we will take the derivative this time of y prime is equal to x. Or we take the derivative. Para ka lang UB yan, UB. Micaela, UB. So y prime, y. So what would be the partner? Y derivative of y prime. Micaela. Y derivative of y prime is y double prime. Okay, plus. y prime derivative of y, y prime derivative of y is y prime also. Nagets ba? Ulit.
Nalito po.
In UB, derivative of UB. Oh, d du plus UDB. Oh, dito, pero diniretso ko na to. Y derivative of y prime is y double prime plus y prime derivative of y. What is y prime derivative of y? That's y prime times y prime or y prime squared. Alright? Y prime squared is equal to derivative of x. What's derivative of x? Derivative of x. What's derivative of x?
Ano po?
O yun. Kaya ko nakalimutan na ay. Alright. So from here, we could say that y double prime plus y prime squared. Y prime squared. Kasi parang dalawang variable yung squared dyan is equal to 1. Alright? So but since we know that y prime, since alam natin, pwede na natin substitute yung y prime. So, alam natin yung y prime ay equal to what? Equal to y over x. Ito. Substitute na natin. No? Substitute na natin yan. Yung y prime over x. Substitute. Substitute y prime equal to x over y. So that's our previous method. So what we'll have here, okay, so y double prime plus what we have here, substitute mo lang x over y. X over y. Pero alam natin yung y, may katumbas yan, mamaya niyan. Mamaya natin substitute yan. Okay? Squared. Okay, is equal to 1. Okay? So, and then let's continue because our purpose is to solve for y double prime. Okay? So what you're gonna do here? Can you solve for y double prime? Of course, or you will dump y double prime is equal to 1 minus. So pwede na natin siyang expand x squared all over y squared. Tama ba? Okay, linagay ko lang sa kabila. And from here, we could solve for y double prime. And then y double prime is equal to what?
One minus.
Okay, 1.
One minus x squared over y squared all over y.
Pwede natin ilagay muna yung y. Diba? X squared is 1. Yan. Tama, no? O baliktad. Ay, mali yata ako. Teka, wait. Masyadong shortcut yung ginawa ko. Wait. So, ano muna natin? Sige. So, yung y, ano muna natin? So, y prime is equal to, so pwede nating sabihin yan na y squared y squared minus x squared all over y squared. Yan. So, from here, so we could say that so if that would be the case, ay, teka, mali yung ano ko, kaya pala hindi ano. Sorry. Yan. Yan. Alright? So, from there, so ano na yung ano natin? Y cube. Tama? Y cube. Idadump na lang natin yung y sa kabila, guys. Ay, ano, Micaela?
Saan po galing yung y squared sa taas?
Sinimplify ko lang. This common denominator. Okay? Di ba? So, ito, or, common denominator lang yan. Or, so y double prime is equal to, same thing, y squared minus x squared all over y cube. So, dinam ko na yung y dun sa kabila, sa ano. Pwede na palang, teka, pwede na palang wala. Alright, saglit ah. Kasi may y ka na dito eh. Teka lang ah. So, teka. Nagets ko na. So, hindi na ano, okay. So, from there, y squared, what is y squared? Ito yun, no? Kung babalikan natin, yung y squared mo is x squared plus 1. Kaya doon pumasok yung x squared plus 1. Okay, x squared plus 1. Doon sa y squared. Teka, parang di na pala dapat kailangang gawin yun. Saglit lang ha, I'm thinking ha. Baka hindi na kailangan i-derive to. So, pwede na ditong substitute agad yun. I think this is better. Pwede nang i-substitute to, Micaela, yung y, yung x squared plus 1. Doon sa y squared. Ayan. Yung y squared, nag-gets mo, Micaela, y is equal to square root of x squared plus 1. Y squared, therefore, is equal to x squared plus 1. Ito na yun, no? Pinalitan ko lang. Nakuha ba?
Apo.
Okay. Sige, kailangan mo maunawaan. Okay, or, so pwede nating iakyat yan, magiging x squared plus 1 minus x squared. So, saka ako nakukunin yung least common denominator dito. Alright. So, yan. Medyo magulo pa, no? Ayusin natin. Yan. Ito, plus 1. Ito muna. Ayusin mo pala natin bago natin ibaba yung y dun sa ano. Alright, ayan, no? So, cancel. Micaela, magka-cancel siya? Tama? Tama ba? Magka-cancel siya? Yung X squared?
Yes, sir.
Ayan, yan na lang natira. Saka mo ibababa ngayon yung y. Upon simplification, pwede mo nang ibaba yung y doon sa kabilang side. Ayan. So, sa kabilang side, so since y double prime is equal to, wala na yung mathematical symbol. Y double prime is equal to 1 over x squared. Ayan. So, or, one all over y. What is y? What is y, Micaela? Square root of x squared. So, dyan natin papasok yung y over x squared plus 1. This is also equal to yan times x squared plus 1. Yung magic, anong nangyari doon? Nawala ng magic. Ulit. Hindi na nga, ito na lang muna. Ayan. Ayan. So, simplifying, Micaela, what would be the case here? So, that would become equivalent to 1 plus 1 half plus 1 is 2/3. So, x squared plus 1 raised to 3 halves rather. Not 2/3 but 3 halves. Okay, so that's the answer. Ngayon, pag ipipriti ko to, naku, hindi na naman nakakonect. Kasi nga ito, hindi ko pa na-simplify. So, pwede itong isimplify. Sana. Ulit. Since x, tignan natin kung tatama siya. Communication na naman. F of square root of x squared plus 1. Meron ka dapat sagot doon. And then we will dip the answer. That's a second derivative. And then we will simplify the answer. Oh, there you are. Tama. Kanina hindi pa natin na-simplify yun. So that's the answer. Acknowledging Sir RC is with us. Salamat din po Ma'am Sweet Grace for dropping by. Ayan po. Salamat Madam. Salamat din kay Ma'am Ilocana. Welcome to my calculus class. As well as Sir RC Pinoy on our YouTube channel. Salamat po sa inyong pagbisita. Ayan. Salamat po. I really appreciate your presence. So that is implicit, Micaela. So we will avoid difficulties such as radical or fractions, make it whole number, and then we will simultaneously get the derivative of both sides of the equation, indicating which is the differentiable variable, which is not. If it is not a differentiable variable, you indicate y prime, no, doon sa kabila, and then we could solve that. And then we could continue solving for whatever higher order equations na pwede nating masolve. Okay? So, pwede mo yung, you could always research. Acknowledging Mommy 3 Kids also with us on our YouTube channel. Thank you for dropping by, Madam. Alright. So, ayan, no? So, Okay. Oh, madam, salamat. Thank you, madam, for your support. Madam, Ilocana. Alam ko nahilo ka sa lecture ko, pero salamat sa iyong suporta, madam. Yan, mukhang ano na, tapos na yung 4K ni Drodog gameplay, madam. Thank you, madam, for your support. Really appreciate that. Yan. Ayan, ito yung support ni madam. Ayan, nagpadala ng tumataginting na gift sa atin. Thank you, madam, ha. Madam Ilocana, thank you for your support. Ayan. Okay, Micaela, I have few minutes. Actually, lagpas na. Pero just to introduce anti-derivative. So, ito mga to, within this week, I'll be providing to you questions and some solutions na pwede mong you work it out throughout the week. And then, actually, yung reviewer pala, bibigay ko next week. Bibigay natin yung para may basis ka for the multiple choice problems in Calculus 1. Okay ba to? Medyo komplikado lang yung process, Micaela, but you could, siguro within this week, papadala ko lahat ng notes na to, yung mga remaining notes natin na hindi ko pa naipadala sa ating classroom. So anyway, naka-record, yung video recordings that we have. Yan. So sana ma-master mo implicit differentiation. Mahalaga din siya, no? Lalo na pag you're dealing with radical, we don't want to differentiate radicals. Therefore, we need to express it into a non-radical expression. That's like, that's what we have done, and then convert it back to radical afterwards, after getting the answer. Okay? Meron pa bang energy dyan? Kaela?
Apo.
Alright, thank you. Okay, ito na, huli na to. If. So for the derivative, if we could call the derivative of a function f of prime we call it f of x. Ang first derivative niyan, basically we call it f of prime of x, or sometimes we call it y prime, or sometimes or simply first derivative, no? Then we could equate this to a particular function. This is also a particular function f of x. Now there is a reciprocal or a reciprocal operation that is what we call antiderivative, such that ako, yung ating bulate. Such that the integral of f of x d of x would go back to f of x. Yan. Yun yung relation nila, no? Halimbawa, sample. So meron ka tinatawag, ang tawag diyan ay antiderivative, because this is the derivative, and of course the opposite operation, basically we call it antiderivative. Okay, antiderivative. If you get the derivative of a function f of prime or y of prime, that's equivalent to f, the capital F of x. That's what we call the derivative. And you will get an opposite operation such that you will get back to the original f of x, the small f of x. That's what we call antiderivative, or sometimes we call it or integral. That's what we call integral calculus. Okay? So for this case, for example, if we have derivative, or if you have derivative of x squared, Michaela, what's the answer?
2x.
2x. Yan, 2x. Now we will get then we will get the opposite operation for this. All right? So the opposite operation. What would be the opposite operation? Is the integral, no? The integral, or what we call it indefinite integral because there are no limits. But the definite interval will be discussed by the calculus 2. Ay, na-discuss mo na nga pala yun. Alam mo na to, yung indefinite integral. Ito, indefinite to. Indefinite integral, or what we call the antiderivative, such that when you get the integral, all right, when you get the integral of 2 of x dx, what would be the answer? Kela.
X squared po.
X squared. However, we need to insert plus c or constant. Why? Because when you get the derivative of a constant, that is equal to 0. So to make it more of a general answer or general solution. No? So to represent all of the general solution, we connote a constant, an arbitrary constant for this case. No, it's arbitrary because when you get the derivative of a constant, that is equal to 0. So definitely, meron tinatawag tayo na the specific solution, no? No, for this, no? But for general speaking, there must be a representation of that constant c. Kasi if you will get the derivative of x minus 2, x squared minus 2, what's the derivative? 2x pa rin, di ba? Tama? Or if you get the derivative of say x squared plus 3 is still 2x. So to represent all of these solutions, we will be giving an arbitrary constant to represent. That's why every time that you will perform an indefinite integral or something that doesn't have any limit at all, by the way, the limit will define the integration. So without any limit, it's an indefinite integral. Now meaning there is no, what we could have is just a general solution, no, without any particular solution. No, general solution lang to. No, general solution for C kasi hindi natin alam yung C. All right? But of course, versus definite integral, halimbawa magkakaroon tayo ng definite integral. Isang halimbawa lang. Pero in definite integral, nasa calculus 3 mo na at 2 mo na yun, napag-aralan mo na yun. From 0, say, to 4. Yan, 0 to 4, x squared dx. So what would be the solution here? Of course, this is no longer a general equation. This is no longer a general equation. It needs to have a particular solution or specific solution because you already define the limits. Such that limit could be evaluated. So we have 2x evaluated from 0 to 4. And 0 to 4. Now, wala ka ng plus c. Micaela, wala ka ng plus c kasi definite yung limit niya from 0 to 4. Kapag ikaw ay nagsosolve ng definite integral, you don't have plus c anymore. You will only make use of plus c when you are dealing with antiderivative or sometimes you call it indefinite integral. But for this case, we could evaluate 2x pala dapat to. My mistake. 2x. We could evaluate such that this would become x squared, no? So we know that the value is x squared and needs to be evaluated from 0 to 4 by direct substituting after you get the indefinite integral, which is x squared, without adding plus c, then you will be evaluating from 0 to 4. So for this case, alam ko, nagigets mo na to dahil napag-aralan mo na to. So from this case, this become 4. So definite integral na siya. So that becomes 4 squared minus 0 squared. So of course, we know the answer is 16. Yes. Alright? So pag linagay natin sa MATLAB yan, okay, so we have seen integral of x squared from 0 to 4. So supposedly, ganun ang maglalabas dyan. Ayaw niya. Kasi, yung simboliko pala, kulang. Okay? O kapag ang ating tinanong lang ay wala yung lower upper limit, so it will have 2x pala, may mistake. 2x. Two times x. Okay, x squared. No? So, dapat may plus pa yan. May plus palagi yan. No? So, hindi lang niya linagay dito. Pero kung ito naman ay integral from 0 to 4, you will add your lower and upper limit. Okay, then you will have 16 as your answer. Okay, so that's the introduction to antiderivative. So, it comes from derivative. Of course, these are reciprocal. No? Actually, these are independent mathematical discipline. Hindi siya talaga derivative comes first and then integration. No. Derivative comes from Leibniz. No? It's a mathematician, and the integral calculus was promoted by Isaac Newton. So dalawa sila. Doon nagkita yung dalawa, o hindi ko alam kung nagkita talaga. Teka, parang pareho tayong tinutumbok ah. Sa'yo derivative, ako anti-derivative pala yung sa akin. So they are of magka-opposite function pala yung dalawa. Pero pag nag-solve sila, pareho. No? Pareho yung nagiging sagot. So 16th century mathematics yan. Na-develop pareho yung integral sa differential calculus ng sabay. Hindi talaga siya differential first then becomes integration. So hindi ganun yung approach doon. But in history, you could Google that Isaac Newton is the one is a proponent of integral calculus, and Johannes Leibniz, no? I forgot the first name, baka iba, Leibniz. I-Google mo nga ito. Leibniz. Yan. You could Google that name. Sa 16th century or 17th century mathematician, contemporary to Isaac Newton. He's the one that is, I don't know if he's the father, but the one that promotes differential calculus. Differential calculus. And of course, Newton, which is a more known physicist, is using integral calculus. Nagtagpo yung dalawang yan. Pareho lang palang tinutumbok. Kaya magkadugtong. Kaya nga sa mathematics, pwedeng matuto ka muna ng integral bago differential. Not necessarily differential and then integral. Not necessary. Pero the way we look at it, mas may connection kasi yung derivative sa geometry or analytic geometry. Kaya minsan, kino-connect natin yung analytic geom sa differential calculus. Then eventually, we'll be learning integral calculus. Okay? Okay, Micaela, you still have energy there. So that ends our semester. Congratulations. Congratulations, Micaela. Okay? You finish the course, no? And we will find out on week 18 if you finish the course well. Okay, so we will have a general review by next week, week 17, of all throughout pre-calculus, analytic geometry, going to the limits, all of the differentiation, maxima, minima, and then implicit differentiation, higher order approach, and then you have a little bit of antiderivative problem. So that would be the coverage of our Calculus 1. Okay? So that will be a general review. Everything will be uploaded after our week 17 class, so that giving you ample time to review for 7 days, literally. No? Then week 18, I'll be giving you need to still be on Restream so that I could private chat to you the Google Forms where you could start your exam. So your exam is only for 1.5 hours, and multiple choice. No need for solve problems, showing solution, but just choosing the right answer for each item. So as a challenge, if you will perfect the final exam, I will give you your final semestral score of Plat 1 also. So yun yung ating challenge. Okay? But anything lower than that is proportionate. I'll make it proportion. Wag lang bababa ka ng 1.5 kasi pag bumaba ka ng 1.5, hahalukayin ko lahat ng score mo mula prelim exam hanggang finals. Pag bumaba ng 1.5. Pero sana wag kang bumaba ng 1.5. Okay ba yun, Michaela?
Thank you po.
Okay, sige. So, ayan. So, parang pagod ka yata nyo. It sounds like, tired, something like that. Marami bang mga gawain ngayong week na to?
Di naman po.
Parang tunog pagod ka lang kasi. Ayan. So, anyway, so you have 1 week, no? Siguro i-upload ko ng maaga yung reviewer per se para may points of discussion na tayo kapag diniscuss natin siya. Though hindi ko siya madidiscuss lahat. It's more than 100 items of reviewer. I will just be choosing, or perhaps you'll be choosing. No? Inaral mo na, and then yung mahirap, yun na lang ang ipasagot mo sa akin. Okay? And then from there, I'll be extracting my 50 items. O, di ba? Partida na yon. So, wala nang win-win solution tayo. Ma-Plat 1 ka, bibigyan kita ng Plat 1. Okay, so ganun na lang yung usapan doon. Then afterwards, no, so tapos Calculus 3 ka na. Ang bihira, no? Kaya na. Calculus 3 ka na. You skip Calculus 2 kasi na-take mo na yung Calculus 2 eh. Balikan mo na lang yung Calculus 2 mo. Sooner or later. Di ba? Tama, no?
Opo yan.
Anong opo yata? Tapos ka na ng Calculus 2. Ano ka ba?
Hindi, sir, hindi ko to alam sa
Last sem,
schedule
Calculus
next
pa sa akin. Together with Dane. Oh. You see? Nakalimutan mo na agad. So anyway, sige. Let's close in our prayer. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the effort of understanding whatever things that we have learned today. This had been sandwiched for 1.5 hours. But nevertheless, ayan. So kayang-kaya mo naman yan. Math major ka naman. Sige. So we thank the Lord for this time. Salamat sa lahat ng ayan. So magtatapos na naman semester. Kalasbuto na naman tayo. Ayan. So by the way, Micaela, if you're free on week 18, by the way, sa week 18, Saturday, I will have my, if you're free, no? Saturday, week 18, that would be, ano bang pecha noon? 11, December 11, that's the week 18, Saturday. I will have my semester end devotion. So I'm inviting all of my students. Now, if you're free and if you doesn't have any class, it's okay. But you could always catch up with a replay, no, yung of our semester end devotion. I'll be giving my last devotional challenge for all of my students on December 11. So that includes my STEP, my Edu student, and all of the math. I'll be inviting them to join that. No, but if not available, it's okay. You may just watch it in your free time. Okay, so that's my last devotional challenge for this semester, before the end of the semester. Okay, so let's close in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity where we could continually study differential calculus, calculus 1, particularly on this maxima minima, as well as some implicit differentiation and introduction to antiderivative. So these are all has its practical application, and we need to appreciate, Lord, this mathematical foundation. As math majors, math teachers, we need also to appreciate this so that our student may appreciate it as well. Its principles and how it is applied to our daily lives in terms of measurement, in terms of business, in terms of other aspects of our life that needs computing. And we thank you, Lord, because you are the Lord of order. You have ordained these principles, these mathematical principles. You have used mathematicians of the old so that they may develop this into what we call this calculus, both integral and differential calculus. I pray, Lord, for your guidance to us. Even Micaela, as she will be busy for the following weeks for her final examinations in respective classes. I pray for your guidance and grace be upon her. Also, with her family, Pastor Ricky and Madam, I pray, Lord, for your mercy and grace to the entire family, that they may continually serve you with faithfulness and humility, and that they may continue to persevere throughout this pandemic that we are experiencing. We thank you, Lord. May be glorified in our midst, even this morning and this afternoon. This is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen. Okay, thank you, Micaela. See you next week. God bless you.
Thank you po. Thank you po.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye po.